Hello group, Giron-Freay here. This video is for the audio biography for therapy with children. Almost forgot. I just wanted to talk to you about my playlist really quickly, make a short video, not too much, just to give a little bit of background on why I chose each song, the particular order. So let's begin. I guess before I ever decided to be a musician, it was already decided for me. I remember being very young in the car. Early 90s baby, 92. So my mother would be playing Journey, the Eagles, Def Leppard, Heart, all the hair bands from the 70s and the 80s in the car. And I was just a young kid, so I would be in the back, smiling, giggling, just listening, happy away. And I remember my mother always telling me, Andy, can you focus on the drums? Like, can you just hear the guitar and all the noise? Like, can you just hear the bass? So without her even realizing it, she was helping me learn to audiate and to single out, one instrument in a whole mix. So that's kind of where I guess my musical journey had started. I remember learning that we listen to a lot of the music that our parents listen to as we get older. Then we start branching out and making choices of our own. This is where Eminem's Lose Yourself comes into play. I was about 8 or 9 years old when this song came out, and I remember it was just like, wow, what is this? Like, it was really cool. I mean, Slim Shady, no one can touch him. And it was a new genre, at this point in my life. Rap was still pretty new-ish, I would say. They call the 90s the golden era of rap, so I was just coming in on the tail end of it. But when Eminem's debut album came out and when this album came out, the show, I was just blown away. I couldn't believe that. Yeah, this was out here. The beats were cool, so it turned me on to a whole different perspective. This was my first time really venturing out and finding music on my own. So now we can fast forward maybe about a year or two in the future. In 2002, or 2003 actually, a movie called School of Rock came out with Jack Black, and I saw that movie, and I was inspired. I saw that kid, he was 10 years old, he was my age, he was shredding and ripping the guitar. I'm like, I want to do that. So now the dream is born, the rock star dream. And told my uncle, who fiddled with guitar a little bit, still kind of does. I told him I want to learn how to play, so I can, be a rock star. And he's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. So for my birthday, he bought me a guitar, and he gave me 4 CDs that he thought were a proper introduction. He gave me Van Halen's debut album, Led Zeppelin's second album, Led Zeppelin 2. He gave me Jimi Hendrix's debut album, The Jimi Hendrix Experience, and Metallica's Black Album. Needless to say, solid foundation. But when I heard Eruption, that's when I knew I had to be a rock star. I never heard a guitar like that, a 2-minute solo from 1978. No one was doing what Eddie Van Halen was doing at the time. He was ahead of his time. Even so much so that, he inspired me to play it and to want to, I guess, be better. Of course, I didn't have any musical foundation as far as theory or organized musical foundation. I was just shredding and soloing. That's it. And there began my guitar career. So we fast forward a few years, and we have Benny Benassi's Satisfaction remix by R.L. Grime. Now, 16, 17, started getting into electronic music. I still love it. It still is awesome. But one of my favorite types is called trap music, where it's just very heavy, like techno and rap based beats and songs and stuff. And R.L. Grime is one of my favorite producers. He has the heaviest beats. They're incredible. But when I first heard this song, that's what kind of set me off on the wave of EDM and going to festivals and doing all the in-betweens. So that was also in my teenage years. Like I said, I was 16, 17. So again, I was at a different area in my life, a different perception of things. And again, I was expanding musically, to different horizons, seeing what else is out there. And I tapped into a world that has been good to me, and I've been good to it. I'll get a little bit more of that in a little bit. So my understandings. This song is like the epitome of my favorite song in the whole wide world. just from a listener's standpoint, and this is completely opinionated, this is completely objective, but to me, this is the most organized, most well written. It's a perfect song, from its arrangement to its progression to its melody. It's simple in nature, but it's just, to my ears, it's just, everything about it is wow, from start to finish. It's a short song, so it leaves you wanting more. And when it ends, you still can't believe what you've heard. You know, the singer, his name's Shaylee Burgett, he is the one who wanted me, who got me to pursue singing more. You know, at this point in my life, I was maybe 20, 21 years old. I had maybe started taking some piano courses. I had not opened myself up yet to singing. And at this point in my life, in my early 20s, I had a more organized and foundational understanding of music. So my rock star dream had started to shift more towards being a musician, a competent, able musician, multi-instrumental musician. So just listening to him be able to sing like crazy high tenor notes, I'm just like, I want to be a tenor. You know, I feel like I can do it. All my favorite singers from the early bands, you know, Robert Plant's, the Steven Tyler's, the Steve Perry's, they're all ridiculous countertenors. So I figured I wanted to get as close as I can to that. If you were to listen to any song on this entire playlist, that would be the one. I love it so much so that I even got some of the lyrics tattooed on my chest. The lyrics speak to me in a very deep way as well. A personal interpretation really allows me to connect with it. I won't go into sharing it too much here because it's long. The video is already almost 7 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. Next we have Fernando Soares' B minor study. Now this song is interesting because here we get to a point in my life where I've become a musician. I've gotten as far as I could on my own because I'm self-taught, and now I find myself at a crossroads. The reason why we come to this point where we have a classical guitar piece is because of where I made my decision to really pursue an education in music in college at a university. And I don't know a damn lick about jazz, but I knew I wanted to challenge myself, and the school I was at prior to Montclair only offered classical. So I took it. I took it as my opportunity to learn, to grow, and to try something new, and I have absolutely fallen in love with it. Everything about it. As I've grown as a classical guitarist, I've learned many things about being a guitar player and also a musician. As I just look back on this playlist, you know, I see where I started and how far I've come, and that brings me to the last song. Not to take away from my classical training, but that's been a shorter part of my life. Only 3 years I've been classically trained as a classical guitarist. The prior 10 years before that, I was just self-taught. But all of it is culminated to this. The last song, Lit by Polyphia, it's a killer song because it mixes two of my favorite genres in one, like the EDM and the rock. These guys play so well, and they write the coolest lines and know how to just overlay it, that it's incredible. You know, their name Polyphia comes from being polyphonic. You know, they're very intentional with the way they write and construct their music, and that's how I am as well. I like to write lines that don't show flashiness, but that show technical, you know, dexterity and show musicality as well. I like to be very musical. I like to be very melodic, especially when I'm writing or soloing. It's not about how fast or how many notes I'm playing. I'm writing cool lines. To me, I say cool lines, but I'm writing very, you know, organized, melodic lines that flow and really give you something to remember. And this band does that exceptionally well. They've been one of my favorites the last 2 years. You know, and that's it so far. I've been continuing to expand my own personal music interests and grow as a musician with piano, voice, and guitar. But this is where life has brought me so far. You know, there's plenty of other songs I could have chosen, but I think for now, these 7 definitely give a good insight of me, you know, who I am, what I like to listen to. Maybe we all could do some lyrical interpretation and see if we find any underlying subliminal messages that I may not know about myself. Anyway, I look forward to seeing all of your videos and listening to all the videos you guys post. Hope you guys made it through mine. 10 minutes is not too bad. So thanks for stopping by. Peace.